Hello, reading champions. How are you doing today? Today is the last day of Ramadan for this year, but it's not the last story from my first Quran storybook. What number is it today? It's number 30. Let's start reading. The Story of Two Gardens. This is a story which Allah tells us in the Quran. Once upon a time, there were two friends. One of them was rich and the other poor. Both of them had gardens. The rich friend had a huge garden. On one side of the garden, there was a vineyard. Its grapes were bigger and sweeter than any other grapes. On the other side of the garden, there was an orchard. It was full of date palms. There were so many palms that it was impossible even to count them without making a mistake. Between the two gardens, there was a field of corn. Every time the two friends met, the rich friend used to say, "I'm richer than you, and my family is better than yours." The rich man loved his garden a lot. He looked at his garden with lots of pride. He thought, "It is a beautiful garden. It will be always full of fruit. It will never be destroyed, not even on the last day. And when I die, I'm sure I will have an even better garden than this." The poor friend heard what his rich friend said. He was surprised by his pride. Once he asked him, "Don't you believe in Allah? Allah has made you. He gave you all you have. Why don't you praise Allah? Why don't you praise Him when you enter your garden? Why don't you say, 'Everything happens as Allah wills'?" Then the poor friend said, "I'm poorer than you. My family is also not as great as yours. But if Allah so wills, He will give me a garden even better than yours. If Allah so wills, a storm might ruin your garden, or the streams might run dry, and there might be no water for your garden." The very next day, a terrible thing happened. The rich man's garden was destroyed. Bunches of ripe grapes were ripped from the branches and fell to the ground. The rich man looked at his ruined garden and cried, "I shouldn't have been proud. Why don't I thank Allah? Why wasn't I grateful?" He turned to Allah for help. It was too late to save his garden, but not too late to save his soul. The story is meant to teach believers never to speak proudly, but to say in all humility, "Whatever Allah has ordained must surely come to pass. There is no power save with Allah." And that was our story for today. See you tomorrow, inshallah.